Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to COD Zombies HQ. Right now is a very weird time in the history of the COD Zombies community, where the current most up-to-date version of a Treyarch Zombies game is near universally disliked by the community that plays the mode. With Vanguard Zombies' massive shift away from the traditional Zombies formula to exclusive objective-based gameplay in the most stripped-down, simplified version of the Zombies mode that we've seen since Call of Duty World at War, you'd be absolutely right to say that the Zombies community isn't doing very well right now. But off in the distance, there appears to be a light on the horizon. A return back to traditional round-based Zombies map gameplay that we know and love, and we might see it earlier than we originally expected. As I figure the best way to kick off this video is covering the brand new information we have regarding leaked information behind the development of what is essentially the next Zombies exclusive DLC package, not for Vanguard, but for Black Ops Cold War, wherein the latest public information we have about this possible DLC comes from Margwin News Network over on Twitter, where they say, quote, "The new update for Cold War Zombies has been planned for over a year. We don't know if this means it was an idea for over a year or in development for over a year, but new evidence implies the latter, that it was in development for over a year. And it's been described as, quote, a new DLC. So when people saw that, they thought, new DLC? Could that mean that there's new original Zombies maps coming to Cold War in this package? And it doesn't seem like that. They later clarified that the, quote, new DLC does not mean new original maps will be added into the game, but rather it's a new DLC package to Cold War, which would include remasters of old Zombies maps, which is why this new Cold War Zombies DLC package is being characterized as Zombies Chronicles 2, as it apparently will contain remastered Zombies maps, the two that have been publicly spoken about so far from a different credible leaker has been in the form of a remastered version of the Black Ops 2 map Die Rise, and a remastered version of the Black Ops 2 map Buried. But with the information that this new DLC package has likely been either conceptualized or in development for over a year over at Treyarch, starts to make sense if we stop for a moment and kind of think back to what was the big stories in regards to Cold War and upcoming DLC for that game before the game was even launched, where, if you guys remember, before Cold War even released, there was a massive information leak about the Zombies mode for that game and upcoming DLC projects. In that leak, before Cold War was even released again, it revealed information about the perks that are going to be in that game, it revealed information about the Easter egg of Die Maschine, it revealed information and the map name of DLC 1, which was Firebase Z, which wouldn't even be releasing for several months later, but also included in that leak was this curious line that Tranzit wouldn't be in the game at launch. And when we read that, it was just like, wait, what? Where's that coming from? Tranzit not being in the game at launch? Why would it be in the game at all? Tranzit, of course, being the notorious launch map for Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Zombies that has a little bit of a divisive nature in the Zombies community. A lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it, and for good reason. It was Treyarch's first attempt at making a large-scale, kind of open-world-like Zombies map, and because of the lack of power on the main series consoles at the time, the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, plus development time, Treyarch's original vision for what Tranzit was supposed to be was never fulfilled. But the addition of Tranzit for Black Ops Cold War just didn't make sense. That is, until Treyarch revealed what they call the next major addition to the Zombies mode that will likely continue even in future games, their biggest shakeup of the mode ever, in the form of the Outbreak game mode, which was set on large open world maps with kind of objective-based gameplay and vehicles, things that we had never seen before in the Zombies mode, but all these maps were set on multiplayer maps with no Zombies exclusive Outbreak maps being released, making the theming of it all seem just kind of off. It doesn't really feel like you're playing Zombies when you're playing Outbreak, and a lot of that has to do with the environments of the map itself, which is why when some information came out that Treyarch Treyarch would be developing and releasing some kind of Zombies exclusive Outbreak map that is totally unrelated to anything released before in multiplayer, players got excited, and when discussing what that map could be, we thought back to the original leak, referencing Tranzit, where the thought was that if Treyarch was to remaster Tranzit with its massive scale, its roads, its possibility to use vehicles, Tranzit seemed like the perfect Outbreak map that was already released years ago and was just begging to be remade and reformatted for this new game mode. And of course, while we hope that Tranzit would be released in the Outbreak game mode, we also hope that it would not only contain a Outbreak mode variant, but an original round-based mode variant calling back to the original that would be introduced alongside the Outbreak game mode, keeping fans of both modes happy. And we really expected to see that map release sometime in the first year of Cold War's DLC cycle. But as seasons went on and new Outbreak maps continued to be released that they were just grabbed from multiplayer over and over again, hopes dwindled that we'd actually see this Zombies exclusive map in the Outbreak mode and that it would be Tranzit dwindle over time. But then just recently, when it seems like all hope was lost, a flurry of new leaks regarding new Zombies DLC content being in development was released quickly, one after another, day after day, with the newest information we covered earlier saying that this new DLC being developed for Black Ops Cold War Zombies has been in development for over a year, possibly heck even before the game was released, calling back that maybe the original leak here that Tranzit won't be in the game at launch wasn't expected to be released during the DLC cycle, but possibly as part of this post-launch, post-first year Zombies DLC pack. And for the original OGs out there that were back in the Zombies community years ago, back in early 2017, where Infinite Warfare Zombies just received its first DLC pack, and players, to be honest, were split on that game. A lot of players didn't really like it, especially coming off the absolute high that was the ending of Call of Duty Black Ops 3 Zombies, when all of a sudden, really starting to snowball between the months of February, March, and April, leaks started to filter through the Zombies community that a new DLC, a DLC 5, was being developed for the Zombies mode, and it seemed absolutely absurd at the time. Rumors of DLC 5 have been around since Black Ops 1. It never came to fruition, but in those early days of March and April of 2017, that idea that it was all smoke and mirrors started to fade away as more concrete evidence was revealed that DLC 5 was real. And obviously in hindsight, we know that to be the case, where only a few months later, Zombies Chronicles was released as DLC 5 for Black Ops 3. And I do find it kind of curious that all this information about a possible new DLC for Cold War has started to leak out around the exact same time as the original leaks for Zombies Chronicles for Black Ops 3 did back in 2017, around the February, March, and early April timeframe. Which, could just be a weird coincidence, or it could be a case of history repeating itself, with possibly the time frames for both releases being very similar, which is why we're starting to hear new information about both packs around the same time frame. Now, of course, with all this leaked information starting to feel like it did back when Zombies Chronicles was first announced, back at that time, the community as a whole kind of ended up adopting a optimistic but critical approach to the possibility of that DLC, and that's, I guess, something that we should continue to do many years later here in 2022 regarding this mythical next Cold War Zombies DLC, where the leaks from various sources across a large swath of time appears to be pointing to that this DLC will be released. But of course, remember that until Treyarch announces it officially, things are subject to change, information can be outdated and or straight up wrong. But the mystery and allure of what's coming next in this storied game mode we love called Call of Duty Zombies has always been part of the appeal of being a fan of this mode. And to see the Zombies community, which has been so deflated, and probably rightly so since the release of Vanguard Zombies, slowly start to come back to life, and you see kind of people's passion for the mode return over what could be, has been kind of nice to see, to be honest. It reminds me of what it felt like at the beginning of Cold War, as the community returned to its roots for a game mode that it loves. But that is where we stand today, guys, regarding the new Zombies DLC pack for Black Ops Cold War. If you did enjoy the video, if you learned something new, I would appreciate if you could leave a thumbs up down below. Hey, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because this story doesn't end here. There is new stuff being released all the time, apparently, and you can be sure that we'll be covering it on this channel as it drops. But I want to thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you with another Zombies news video very soon. Peace.